Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Tonight we are going to be working on Creative Notions Barnstar Quilt Block of the Month. This is the Washington Star. It says it's a variation. So this is the one I'm going to be doing. I'm not using the colors in that picture. I am using this is Pioneer Woman's line. I'm doing this as a play quilt for my grandbabies. So I am going to just get into it. What I am going to do is start working on this. I'm going to make sure to get all of my diagonal lines drawn, and then we'll start sewing. The first thing that we are to do is using the 4 per time flying geese method. We've got our diagonal line drawn corner to corner, and we've got right sides together. We have one of our light violet squares on the top left corner of the lime square, and we'll need to put another one down here on the bottom right. We are to stitch, it looks like 1/4 inch away from the diagonal line. Yeah, it says stitch 1/4 of an inch to this one side of the drawn line. Repeat for the other side. So once I get this piece almost done, I will add this piece. And here we are adding our second piece to the bottom right, and I'm making sure everything lines up everywhere. Okay, so now we're going to turn it and do it on the other side as well. And how I am doing this, I have my needle moved far to the right, and it looks like it's lining up on the 1/4 inch marker on my machine, so I am saying that's 1/4 of an inch away from the center line. Now, for some reason, my diagonals did not match up, but I'm going to just go with it. Okay, so I have these two stitched. Now I need to cut the center. Now we have what they call 2 heart units. It says, with right sides together, place 1 light violet square. This is our light violet square on the corner of our lime square. So we've got to do right sides together. Diagonal line running from top right to center of heart. So this is top right to the center. And we're just going to line it up right there. Square will overhang center point, And it says stitch 1/4 of an inch to one side of the drawn line. Repeat for other side of the drawn line. So we're going to do the same exact thing for this one. Y'all, I'm loving this block. I've never done this, so this is exciting for me. I love this. This is an easy block maker right here. Okay, and we're going to turn it around and do the other side of that stitched line as well now. Okay, so let me see what our next step is. We are to cut on that center line again and fold the triangles back, and we are to press. I'm trying to see if it shows. Okay, it looks like we press on the triangles. So I'll bring you back once I have this trimmed and cut and pressed. Y'all, look at these beautiful blocks. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? Here's the result. We have 4 flying geese. Beautiful flying geese. I love these. These are beautiful. Okay, now our next step is corner half square triangles. It says using the 2 per time half square triangle method. Now, I don't really know the names of methods. I normally follow diagrams. And I think I've done this before. It says we need to draw a diagonal line on the wrong side of the line squares. So let me get those lines drawn and I'll bring you right back. I have our diagonals drawn now on our 2 small line squares, and we are going to put this on top of a violet square. These are my violet squares. And let's see, we only have 2 of these, so that means we're going to make 4. And we're going to stitch 1/4 of an inch on both sides again. We now have our half square triangles. We have 4 of them. And I went on and trimmed up our flying geese. So I'm putting these over to the side. Now I do see the next step is we're doing half square triangles for 1/4 square triangles using the 2 per time half square triangle method. We're stitching together our larger squares. It looks like a lime and a purple. So these are lime and purple. And it looks like I do need to put a diagonal. Now I have my diagonals, and I am just going to go on and start sewing these. We do these 1/4 of an inch away from the diagonal line. And we will turn that and sew the other side. And I am going to say this, I love Creative Notions patterns. They're very colored, detailed, give you the final measurement of each. Like, it tells me what the size of this should be once it is cut. And I can trim it to that size if necessary. Which most of the time I do. I believe I may get my scant 1/4 inch a little too scant sometimes. But I like that it tells me the size that my square is supposed to be once it is cut and pressed. Okay, I'm now going to cut and press and bring you right back. We now have our half square triangles complete. Our next step is using the 1/4 square triangle method. We are going to put the right sides together of a half square triangle on top of the light violet square. Now, I have a diagonal drawn, so I'm going to lay that down and make sure to put my diagonals different. Now, of course, I did not get my corners and all perfect, so these aren't going to be perfect, but that's okay. We've got our right sides together, and I'm going to start stitching on both sides. We are going to do 4 of these, and I will bring you back once I have all 4 of them done, cut and press. Oh, y'all, these are some pretty blocks. Look at that. This is going to be beautiful. Okay, so I have everything trimmed, pressed, ready to go. So now what I am having to do, it's telling me to follow a diagram for a layout with right sides together, stitch 1/4 square triangles to form rows. So it's showing me 1/4 square triangle this direction, then 1/4 square triangle this direction, and then sew these together. So I am going to have some nesting seams. Let me make sure I am in the correct direction. Yeah, these are some beautiful I need to find my little tool here to press that under the foot. These are some beautiful blocks. Okay, so that's the first one, and that is what it looks like. So now I need to do my second one, which is a bottom. And I'm trying to make sure I don't get this wrong. Yes, that is correct. Because the last thing you want to do when you're doing this is have to seam rip. I went on and pressed these. It doesn't say in the directions to, but I'm making sure that, yes, it looks like I have everything correct. I did it so I could nest the seams there. I'm getting my stiletto here just in case I need it. Now, in the instructions, it does say spin the seam method at center to reduce bulk. I don't know what that method is. I will have to look that up. It looks like it kind of did it. So it's telling me to press it and square it. And I am going to go ahead and do that and bring you guys right back. Our next steps now is assembling the larger block. We are taking one of our violets, then one of our flying geese, and then another violet. And we're going to press everything to the right. So I am going to go ahead and start stitching these. This is really more or less a practice quilt for me to learn techniques and terminology, and I did get the calendar with the terminology, which is going to be very helpful. I will be pulling that out and looking this other term up that I'm not familiar with, or method that I'm not familiar with, to see if it's in there. And guys, if y'all have not yet, go to Creative Notion's website, and they have some pretty amazing things there. If you're new, the 2023 calendar, I know 2023 is just about gone, but that calendar has a ton of information in it. It's worth more for the information that's in it than it is a calendar, I believe. Now, I mean, granted, had I had it at the beginning of the year, I still would have used it because I love calendars. I'm crazy. I have three planners over here on my desk for next year already. So our next step is we will take our square that we just made, and we will take 2 flying geese sections, and we are going to sew these two together first. And y'all, I'm going to tell you, I just love how when I do a Creative Notions pattern, I know that it is going to be, it's going to give me the size of each of the blocks. And as long as I do my part correctly, which I don't most of the time because I do mess up quite a good bit. But as long as I do what I should correctly, I know it's going to match perfectly. Now, I do know on this square, I had some of the measurements off, so it will be a little, I don't know if necessarily that it was measurement off. I think it's the fabric, really, but it's okay. It's going, I mean, y'all, look at these colors. Are these just not beautiful? These, to me, are some absolutely, now, I did lose a point right there. These are absolutely beautiful to me. So, and that's all that matters, is if I like it or not. Because I hope to have many hours of grandbabies napping on this quilt, playing on this quilt, picnicking on this quilt. And we are back. We are going to just keep going. I take the top strip, turn it over on our middle unit. I've got some seams here that nest, so I think I'm just going to go on and get them under the needle, get that nested seam under the needle, and work the rest of them out as they come. Now this is going to be a pretty thick seam right here because these were both pressed the same direction. I don't understand why, but I'm sure the bigger picture of this completed block will make sense. And I have 2 more seams right here. Now I'm having to make sure I'm staying on that 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to do the same thing with this side. I'm going to make sure those seams are together. And then I'm going to check these seams to make sure they're where they need to be. Now these seams down here I know are not going to nest because I didn't cut correctly. And that is okay. It doesn't, it's not a big deal. It just shows that I'm human. And we all make mistakes, which is okay. It's part of life and part of learning. Okay, I will press and bring you guys right back. Friends, we have completed another Creative Notions block of the month. This block is called the Barn Star Quilt Block of the Month, Martha Washington Star. So guys, if you are still here with me at this point, give me a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please feel free to subscribe. Leave a comment. I do respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, have a very blessed day. Goodbye.